The question on the lips of every Nigerian today is simple, yet heavy. Is the net finally closing in on Sheikh Gumi? We have seen the headlines, we have seen the rumors, but what happened today at the Federal High Court in Abuja is not a rumor. It is a calculated legal strike that has sent panic into the camps of those who thought they were untouchable. While the headlines scream about Bello Turji, the real story, the one that is making powerful people sweat, is about the men standing in the dock, specifically the men who have been spotted side by side with the controversial Islamic cleric in the forests of Zamfara and Sokoto. The federal government has successfully reopened the terrorism case against Bello Turji's alleged financiers. But if you look closely at the names on that charge sheet, you will realize why people are asking, is Sheikh Gumi next? We are broadcasting live to break down the explosive ruling by Justice Emeka Nwite, who has ordered the reopening of charge FHC/ABJ/CR/633/2024. This case was thought to be dead, struck out in July, but the government has revived it with a vengeance, citing national security. And who is at the center of this storm? A man named Musa Kamarawa. To the uninitiated, that is just a name. But to those who have followed the banditry crisis closely, Kamarawa is alleged to be the bridge, the fixer, and the man who reportedly facilitated some of Sheikh Gumi's famous visits to the bandit warlords. The narrative is shifting from hunting bandits to hunting the sponsors, and that shift brings the investigation uncomfortably close to the doorstep of the Kaduna-based cleric. Let's be clear about what the government is alleging here. They are not just saying these men gave Turji food. They are saying they built his army. The charges detail the supply of military uniforms, camouflage boots, and most damning of all, a military gun truck bought all the way from Libya. Now you have to ask yourself, does a common criminal have the connections to import a gun truck from Libya? Or does that require high-level protection and a network that operates under the guise of peace missions? This is why the Gumi angle is so explosive. For years, Sheikh Gumi has advocated for amnesty, arguing that these bandits are aggrieved militants. But if the man allegedly acting as his guide or aide is now being prosecuted for buying anti-aircraft trucks for the same bandits, the line between mediator and accomplice becomes very, very thin. The court documents are terrifying. They allege that Musa Kamarawa, alongside others, procured this gun truck for 28.5 million naira. Think about that amount. 28.5 million naira in cash and transfers. This wasn't a transaction done in the dark alleys. This was big business. And the government is saying they have the receipts. They are accusing Kamarawa of being the logistical backbone of Turji's reign of terror. If the court finds Kamarawa guilty, the next logical question from the prosecution will be, who sent you? Who did you report to? And when you were moving freely into these forests, supposedly for peace talks, were you also moving these weapons? These are the questions that could drag Sheikh Gumi right into the center of this legal firestorm. The reopening of this case is a signal. For a long time, Sheikh Gumi has operated with a sort of perceived immunity. He speaks, the government keeps quiet. He visits forests, the security agencies look the other way. But the resurrection of this trial suggests that the immunity might be expiring. By going after the financiers and the logistics officers, the government is chopping down the tree from the roots. They are targeting the people who make the banditry possible. And if those people happen to be the ones holding the microphone for the sheikh during his forest sermons, then the sheikh himself has a lot of explaining to do. I want you to really pause and digest the implication of count 5 of the charge. The government accuses these men of providing medical care to Bello Turji after he was shot in an attack on Tunga Kulu village. They offered him shelter, treated his wounds, and nursed him back to health so he could kill again. This destroys the narrative that these mediators are neutral. If you are treating the warlord's wounds while he is on the run from the military, you are not a mediator, you are an ally. And this is where the public anger towards Gumi's rhetoric stems from. How can you preach amnesty for a man who is being nursed back to health by your associates so he can launch another attack? The government is essentially saying that this support structure is what has kept Turji alive this long. Before we dive deeper into the political fallout of this trial, I need you to do me a massive favor. If you want us to keep exposing the truth behind these high-profile cases, please smash that like button. It tells YouTube that Nigerians demand the truth. And if you are not subscribed, click that button right now. We are following every day of this trial because the moment a name is mentioned in that witness box, we will bring it to you first. The drama in court was intense. The government lawyer David Kaswe fought tooth and nail to get this case back on the list. He called the conduct of the defense lawyers unethical for trying to abandon the case. He argued that this matter has an international dimension. That phrase, international dimension, is key. It hints at foreign funding, foreign weapons from Libya, and a cross-border criminal enterprise. Sheikh Gumi has often spoken about how banditry is a complex issue involving foreigners, but now the state is using that same international link to prosecute the people around him. It is a classic case of using someone's own words and networks against them. We also have to talk about the political timing. We are in late 2025. The political atmosphere is charged. The current administration is under immense pressure to end the insecurity in the Northwest. They cannot afford to be seen as soft on terror sponsors anymore. Taking down Turji's network is a political necessity, and if it means stepping on the toes of a prominent cleric, it seems the government has decided it is a risk worth taking. The fact that they are prosecuting Kamarawa, a man whose face has been seen in the peace negotiation videos, is a direct message to Gumi. We know who your friends are. We also have to talk about the witness testimony. The first witness, identified as ABC, testified that Kamarawa was his childhood friend and detailed the purchase of the gun truck. This insider testimony is dangerous. When childhood friends start talking, secrets come out. Secrets about meetings, secrets about phone calls, and secrets about who the big boss really is. If Kamarawa decides to cut a deal, if he decides that he won't go down alone for a crime committed in the service of a cause, he might start naming names that are too big to ignore. Is that why the defense fought so hard to have the case struck out? Were they trying to bury the testimony that could implicate upper hands? The judge, Justice Nwite, was not swayed by the defense's complaints about the delay. He ruled that the case has merit. He ordered the trial to resume. This ruling is a victory for the intelligence community, who likely have been tracking these links for years but were held back by orders from above. Now, the orders seem to have changed. The protection is lifting. So while Sheikh Gumi is not currently sitting in the dock, his shadow is looming large over the entire proceeding. Every time the prosecutor mentions material support, logistics, or peace talks cover, the audience in the courtroom looks at the empty space where the sponsors should be. The arrest and trial of his associate is the closest the Nigerian state has ever gotten to challenging the Gumi narrative legally. The case has been adjourned to January 21, 2026. That gives the defense time to prepare, but it also gives the prosecution time to dig deeper. Will we see more arrests before that date? Will the EFCC trace the 28.5 million naira to accounts linked to even more prominent figures? And will Sheikh Gumi continue his advocacy for bandits now that his alleged logistics men are facing life imprisonment? The silence from certain quarters is deafening. This is more than just a court case. It is a battle for the soul of the fight against terrorism. If the government can prove that the mediators were actually war funders, it changes everything we know about the conflict in the Northwest. It vindicates those who said you cannot negotiate with terrorists, and it indicts those who try to force the country into dialogue with killers. I want you to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the government is using this case to send a warning to Sheikh Gumi? Do you think Musa Kamarawa will name his masters in court? And is it time for the authorities to invite the Sheikh himself for questioning regarding his relationship with these defendants? Let's get the conversation started in the comments below.